Okay, welcome back everyone. This is the final video in this series of work out of the textbook, in the Year 7 textbook here. We're doing some algebraic modelling and I've got a couple of things to say here. One of those things is it's easy to look at those questions and see a lot of numbers and letters surrounded by a whole bunch of other words, and that's not easy. And the second thing is that the types of questions you get are often a really simple situation. And I scratch my head sometimes and I go, oh well, we've turned this into a complex mess, when the actual reality is a lot simpler. So sometimes I don't know whether we do justice to algebra when we do try to simplify things and put the algebra into simple situations, because it often sends a wrong message. And I'll show you, what I'll do is show you a few steps, what I want you to do, and how to navigate these types of questions, because they're everywhere. They're always in textbooks, and honestly they don't exist outside textbooks. But the steps are, we'll do some drawings. We'll try and write down the algebra. We'll try and use pro-numerals and write that out. And then we'll do the substitution and then crunch the numbers and show you how to navigate through these types of questions and produce the work that you need to do in a test or something. Okay? See you soon. Now, I think in the introduction I was pretty critical of these really simplified examples that they give you to model algebra. Okay, I see two things. It's only baby steps. It's only getting you to very beginning to think about these things. So on the other hand, what do I see? I see numbers and letters surrounded by words, and that makes it really hard for you to, as a student beginning this journey in algebra, to pull out what you need. Okay. The other thing that I'm really critical of is they're often really simple situations that we're applying algebra to, and I know we're trying to make life relatable, algebra and life relatable, but somehow it seems to me it turns into a complex mess of one description or another. So what I want you to do is learn how to navigate these textbook questions. Okay, and we do that, and I'm just going to ask you to draw a simple picture first off. Write down the values. Okay, and third of all, once you've got the values written down, I just say sub in, so that's our substitution step, and crunch, and get your final answer. Okay, let's set up a few questions to allow you to do that. Here's often, you'll find some shapes here. We've got a triangle. This side is y, that's y, and this side is a different length and it's called x. Okay, and often they're asking for area or perimeter, and we can write capital P for perimeter if we like. And we're asked to find that out, and the perimeter is just the outside length of the shape. So what do we see here? We've got one length that's x units long, and we've got two, see these little marks in here, I call them ticks. They indicate that this drawing's not to scale, but they are the same length and are different from the length that's marked x. So how many of them have we got there? We've got two of them, so we would write 2y. And in the question, buried in the question, they say what is the value of x, and they said x is equal to 5. and y is equal to 3. For example, I'm not sure, I'm just making these numbers up. And once we've got that, we can do our substitution. So this time, instead of writing x, we're going to put 5, and we've got 2 times 3 here. So what do we got? 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 units in length, and that would be our final answer. And that's the type of thing I want you to encourage you to do. Start with a drawing. Do the drawing. Pull out as much information as you can, including if you see the values for the pronumerals that you're working with. And this is the type of work that you'll be asked to do. So I've got one more question here, and they're often, interestingly, we've got some sort of tradesman type question here. So often what I do is draw a stick figure to indicate that we've got a chippy, a carpenter here, and often the question involves something like a call out fees for, and students don't understand that. If you get on the phone, ask someone to come and have a look at a job that you're thinking about employing them to do, they might charge you a certain amount of money, because to them time is money. Even if they don't do the job, they want to sort out who's genuine and who's wasting time. And then once they commit to the job, they might charge you a certain amount per hour. Okay, so you have the call out fee, and that's why I draw that little phone there, and you've got the hourly rate. So the cost, often we just use capital C instead of writing the cost. And well, what is it? It's $80 per hour, and we could write that as 80H for hour is a good way to do it. But often in the question they might specify what the pronumeral they want you to use is. So if they don't, you can choose it yourself. But for example, if they wanted you to use X, and then on top of the bill, we've got $40 for the call out fee. Okay? And that's our algebra. And then they might say something to you like, well, this guy worked on a job for 2 hours. And we come in here and we work out the cost of that, 80 times 2 plus the 40. And we're looking at $160 plus 40 is $200 for that job. Okay? And then, they might say, oh, well, he worked 8 hours on another job, work out the cost. So 80 times 8 plus 40, 640 plus 40, 680 for that job, for example. Then they might say, adjust one of the things. If the hourly rate goes up to $90 per hour, and the call out fee goes up by $10, we might write a new equation for this. 90x plus 50 is a new rate that the tradesman's working on. So they're the types of questions that they'll be asking you, and there's a lot. They're worded questions, and the information that you need is buried inside those sentences. And it's your job to extract it. And I really think the best way to do that is to create a little drawing. Put some numbers on it. And just try and get a sense of what's happening with the question. Work out how you're going to write the algebra. And then when you're asked to substitute things in, you actually write down the value that you're substituting in. And you set things out in the way that I've just described to you, and that gives you the best chance of getting these questions right.